I'm going to get authentic, I'm going to get real, and I'm about to get super vulnerable. I don't know why I'm sharing this, but I am. So I fell out of my marriage and I fell into love. So we do not attract what we want in life, you guys. We attract what we are. This means the vibration and the frequency that you move at attracts people in your life, and there's like a mirrored reflection. So you know the person I spoke about in the last video, and if you haven't checked it out, that means you have to go back and listen. I kind of fell in love, you guys. There was a big connection that happened here, and I'm going to share this with you. So if our thoughts and emotions shape our frequency, you can imagine when two people connect on such a vulnerable level, it's easy to develop feelings for that person. When you get to show up as your true, authentic self, why wouldn't that happen? But the key here that you should know is, you can't just fall for anybody. You can have connection with the barista. I've had connections with a lot of people. I think what's important to know is they have to offer you something that's a little bit different than you've ever experienced before, and you're going to want more of it. So let's dive in a little bit deeper here. Frequency and the energy we put off. I'm not trying to get all juju and woo-woo on you here. This is just science. We are energy-based creatures. So this means that if we are vibrating at a certain frequency, the people we attract in our life will be very similar. And why I speak about mirrors is the person I met, we mirrored. There was all these commonalities, and a lot of the things that I had gone through in my life, this person had gone through. A lot of the traumas that I had experienced, a lot of the things that I had to learn, this person also had to learn. So it's very interesting, and I want you to look around in your life at the people you connect with and think about, am I giving advice to them that I should be taking? Because this happens. We see this happen all the time. Is there something within that person that I can see within myself? Why are you getting mad? This is a reflection of you. We have heard all of these things, and this is what I want you to think about when I'm talking about vibration and frequency today, because I'm going to talk a little bit more about that and dive in a little bit deeper. So when I was falling out of my marriage, it felt like this person caught me. And in turn, as I mentioned, reflective-wise, I caught this person because this person was moving through growth and moving through change. And we sort of helped each other. And it was like all of a sudden I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat. I just wanted to be around this person because the things that we talked about and the connection that was happening was so beautiful. And that goes back to the importance of connection and that vibration and those conversations, because suddenly you want to grow and you want to be a better person, and the people you surround yourself make you feel that way. So there's this euphoria within yourself, and the love drug, they say, and I'm not talking about drugs here, but they do say that the love drug is like cocaine. It is like this feeling that you can't quite explain and you want more of, which is why when you're having these conversations, it feels like you just never want them to end and that time just moves really quickly. So there was so much beauty in this connection for me, and this is why I'm telling you that I'm getting vulnerable and real, because in previous videos I shared with you that I was falling out of my marriage. What was really challenging when experiencing this was the heartache of not understanding why I hadn't felt this way in my partnership before. It was so beautiful to feel this, but with beauty comes so much pain. So I would cry often, and I'd wonder, well, I was in a relationship for 17 years. Why haven't I felt this? And I'm sharing this because maybe someone out there, maybe you, have experienced this yourself. And it goes back to, who are you when you enter in a relationship? In my previous relationship, I went into it very unwell, not healthy, vulnerable, needy, wanting a rescuer. This was the first time I had fallen for someone healthy, as the healthy version of me. So this falling felt completely different than any other time in my relationship, and it took over 30 years to experience that. So of course you want more of that, and it really is important to think back again, who have you been and who you are and who you are around and the feelings that are evoked changed. This doesn't mean that I wasn't in love in my previous relationship. It just means that I was a very different person at that time and wasn't able to experience the love I had now experienced based on the frequency that I was at. So again, back to the vibration and frequency and energy talk. As we change, this is why I say we attract the things in our lives that we are meant to attract, because as you grow as a person, you're gonna attract different people in your life, different experiences, different opportunities. You are not gonna miss out on anything that isn't meant for you. What you feel on an emotional level speaks to the frequency in which you vibrate at. I want you to really hear that. What you feel on an emotional level is what your vibration and your frequency is at. So think about it. If you're depressed and you're sad and you're moving through something, you're probably not going to meet somebody when you're walking outside. You might not meet a new friend. Your head might be down. You might be feeling a little bit sad. Your energy's not there. Where if you are feeling like on top of the world, the sun is shining, hello neighbor, like you're going to meet people and you're going to be attracting people in to you. So it's important to know that the brain is not who you are, because sometimes our thoughts lie to us. So it is important to learn to tap into that inner knowing and that feeling. And that's what I'm talking about today, because the experience I had with this person, I couldn't make sense of it in my brain, and either could he, because it was solely a vibrational feeling. It was all something that was coming from within. And I think this is important to know, is because our thoughts are based on pre-existing patterns, based on the way that we were raised and what we were taught. So when we try and rationalize and think about things, we can really get lost. And this is important to know because society really wants you to use your brain. Everything is about mental. It is about what you're reading, seeing, hearing. Let's just look at social media and how it pulls you in. You're not living in your body, you're living in your mind. And this is scary because we then disconnect from our body. And this is something I want you to know is, what does it feel like in an innate level? Because there is something really profound about what the soul, what the spirit is speaking. And if you don't believe in soul, and if you don't believe in spirit, that's why I talk about this inner knowing, that intuition. You just feel it in your body. You just feel it in your body, and it's not so much of the mind. It pulls you in, and it's your truth. That's what I want you to start to learn to tap into, and this is why we're having the conversation today. Your spirit, that inner knowing, is profoundly and infinitely more powerful than your brain. Why? Because that inner feeling is what actually calms your brain. Have you ever been panicked and had so much anxiety and you don't know how to make it go away, and suddenly you just start breathing and you're feeling a little bit better? It's that calmness from within that you invite that actually brings that peace. So that's why I'm saying, if your mind is chattering, bring it back to that inner knowing and that calm. And this is all connected, again, guys, to that frequency. So you can see we vibrate at a certain frequency, we attract certain people in our lives, our minds try and rationalize. Let's put the mind aside for a second and tap in to that inner knowing. So why I'm sharing this with you is because both this person and I were really moving through some challenges with experiencing this connection. Again, like I wasn't ready to experience this, you guys. I was falling out of a marriage and I was caught into this beautiful experience, and this person was far from ready from experiencing this. So really, the reason me and this person connected was the vibration and frequency. We were on the same level, so we were able to meet and connect. There is so much beauty in the unexpected. We don't always expect what we are going to find as we move through growth and evolution. So I want you to be excited for that as you're growing and changing. I think what was really big for me is like, I didn't know I had fallen in love until I experienced it for the first time from a healthy place. I didn't know that I lacked a sense of belonging until I felt like I belonged. Like, is that not crazy, you guys? I really want you to hear that. I didn't know I didn't belong until I finally felt what it felt like to belong. And so there's big awakenings within these shared experiences. And the connection didn't last a very long time. It was very short-lived. And that's okay because there was so much lesson in that. And that's what I'm sharing with you here today is the mirror, the reflection, and the lessons that you can find in the people that you meet, even when they feel so beautiful, even when you don't want them to go away. The reason I'm talking about your vibration and your frequency and the people you meet and how you mirror them is because this entire encounter was this beautiful lesson and this beautiful reflection and this mirror. And this is something I want you to look at if you are in a relationship and you're looking for the purpose and the reason why it happened, especially if there's heartache connected to it. So this person had no self-worth. Guess what? I had no self-worth in this connection. So this person was really moving through transformational change, egoic challenges with the mind, and this isn't my story to share, so I'm not going to get into all the details. But what I will say was this person was moving through a shift internally with their identity. They could be one person with me, and when they were with another person, they couldn't be themselves. And it's so easy to fold into a specific life when you're around certain people if it's inviting love into your world. So this person could be themselves when they were with me, and when they were with someone else, it was a different person. And this is important because when we are around certain people, we might chameleon who we are if it means we're going to be loved. And that usually is a reflection of self-worth and something to look at. And for me, my self-worth challenges were no matter how much this person told me they had feelings for me, no matter how much they said, Sabrina, you're not a tool. I care about you for all these reasons. I feel all these intense emotions for a reason. I was like, no, there's no way. There's no way. And this was really based on patterns and thought processes based on childhood. I grew up thinking that I had to do certain things in order to be loved. So that meant I had to perform in a certain way. I had to do certain things for my parents, and only then I would be loved. That also played out in my previous relationship. I'm going to cook, clean, be the best wife, do all these things because, I have OCD. So if I don't do these things, why would I possibly be loved? I can't possibly be loved for who I am. So then when I meet this person, I'm thinking, well, I have to show up this way for this person based on our connection. I have to continue to be this way. Otherwise, why would this person want to be with me? They couldn't possibly want to be with me for who I am. So we can see how patterns from our childhood and our past pop up in our relationships. So again, reflection, self-worth. He had self-worth challenges. I had self-worth challenges. These are important things to look at when you're connecting with people. When it comes to patterns and how patterns from our childhood could show up, this is not just in romantic relationships. This is important to know because even though I recognize my patterns were showing up and his patterns were showing up, my patterns also have shown up in my friendships, you guys. Like birthdays, I would buy big extravagant gifts because that would mean I was loved. In my friendship circle, with my family, in work scenarios, really overcompensating in order to be loved. And then realizing wait a minute, I could just be me and be loved? These are patterns. This person ultimately fell back into their old patterns. And it's easy to feel safe. It is easy to stay with what is familiar. It is scary to move towards change. It really does come back to understanding you and learning to trust your inner knowing, to stay out of the mind. You will get advice from people all the time. Heck, this is advice. Don't listen to me. Listen to your inner knowing. I don't want you to take what I'm saying as your truth. That is so important to know. If you are vibrating at a certain frequency and your energy is meeting people where they're at, there is an inner knowing that you can trust and tap into. Going to therapy, speaking to a coach, listening to podcasts, listening to YouTube, listening to me, talking to friends, talking to family is all great. It provides valuable advice and things for you to think about. But I don't want you to live up here. I want you to live in here. I want you to trust that innate knowing, that feeling within to guide you through so you do not live in a space of patterns and fall back into old ways of being, to be able to show up truly authentic to the life that you deserve to want to live. The biggest takeaway in this connection and why I tell you that I fell out of my marriage and into love was because it turns out that love was with me. And the reason we're talking about this vibrancy, this vibration, this frequency that we move at is because whatever you attract lives within you. So the reason I was able to have this beautiful connection with this person, to not know a love like this, to not feel a sense of belonging like this, is because that energy was within me. I was able to share that with this person. The reason I wanted more of it was because his vibration, his energy, and his frequency matched mine. So even though it didn't work out in the ways that maybe I had hoped, I was able to step back and see my patterns and what were showing up, the mirror and what we reflected in one another, the things he has to work on, the things I have to work on, and most importantly, knowing that the love that's within me will attract so much beauty. So basically, whatever you are searching for outside of you lives within you. If you are moving through a separation, if you are moving through a breakup, if you just met someone and had a beautiful connection and you are sad that it didn't work out, it only happened because that love lives within you. Everything you need, everything you search for is inside of you. Nothing is ever completely lost. There is always something that you can gain. The vibration will be met by the right people. That means if something leaves your orbit, leaves your circle, that's because that person is no longer vibrating at your frequency. So trust in the knowing that you're gonna meet someone who vibrates at the same level as you. What we have within us never goes away. So if you're going through a breakup, if you are mourning somebody, what I want you to know is it's not about the other person, and we will look for closure outside of us. But if you know that the answers are always within you, you can stop searching. Everything you need is right here.